can back up, yes. Okay, so we have, I'm here at Hyperion, CrossFit Hyperion. I've got Hyperion live on this camera. Hi guys. And then over here, we've got competitive female training. Shauna is here to be answering questions as well. So what's going to happen, because I'm going to be like all talking up here, if you guys have specific questions, you can type them in, and then Shauna can respond to those in a message, or she can tell me to stop talking, and she can talk back, okay? So just like last week, we're going to just quickly like brief the movements. The cool thing about last week's workout and this week's is that everything, you should be really comfortable with these movements. Like, we all know how to row, we all know how to deadlift, and hopefully you know how to double under. That one took me a long time though. It was years. It was years before I could really double under well. So hopefully we're all getting there. So a couple things to make note of. You're going to start sitting on the rower, okay? You have to stay on the rower until that passes over the 300, or until it hits 300 meters. You can't be at like 295 and start to stand up, okay? You have to keep your hands on the handles and your feet in the rower until it gets to 300, okay? And then every time you get back on the rower, it has to start at 0. So it has to be at 0. You can have somebody turn that on and off, like if you can have a judge or like somebody to reset the rower for you, you can do that, okay? But those are the big things with the rower, okay? With our deadlift, it's going to be the same thing, okay? We need to finish in this position, okay? So my shoulders are behind the bar, my hips are open, my knees are locked out. So sometimes when people get going really quick, they'll scoop the bar up like this, and see my hips are extended, my shoulders are behind the bar, but my knees are bent. So you have to make sure to finish this position. So this is important for you guys that are judging people. Like, hold the people accountable. Nobody wants to go back and review their video and be like, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me I was doing this wrong? Okay? So make sure that you're finishing with that position with every single rep. The other thing that they want you to be aware of is not bouncing the barbell off the ground. And typically, that looks like if I'm here, and if I don't keep the bar close to my shins, it's really easy to just boost it out and bounce it. So as we're keeping the technique, you're likely not going to bounce that bar off the ground. Okay? Double unders, there's not any like special thing, right? Just only count the reps that count. Don't count the reps that you like trip on, obviously. Okay, so let's start with the rower. I'm going to roll this forward so you can see. Okay, so obviously there's lots of transitions, so that's going to be one of the things, and they kind of address that in the live video, that you want to be getting in and out as fast as possible. So this is something I like to tell my athletes when we are getting ready for a rowing workout, is if I put my foot in my rower, okay, first off, you want this set so that this part of your foot, that flexibility right here, is on the part that raises up, okay? So I'm going to put mine up to a 2. When I put my foot in, okay, it's on that plate that slants up. When I tighten my rower, I'm going to get 2 fingers and put them between my shoe and the rowing strap, and I'm going to tighten it down. Okay, that way my foot's not going to move a ton, but it's really easy for me to get my foot in and out. I just have to lift up and pull down, and it doesn't loosen as I go. Okay, so that's my big tip. For just being quick in and out of the rower and make sure that you're efficient that way. Okay, just gotta roll this forward. Okay, the other thing we want to be aware of is really driving hard with our legs on the rower. So think of this like your deadlift. They're basically the same setup. So as I come down, I'm going to get here like I'm grabbing a bar. Okay, my heels are in contact with the rower, which allows me to initiate by driving hard with the legs before I open the hips. Now what I see a lot of when people are rowing, especially when they're really tired, is this. Okay, see how my heels are up, my chest is up, okay, I haven't gone back down to be in this position where I can really drive with my legs. So that is going to create more strokes per minute. It's going to blow up your quads a little bit more. It's going to make that heart rate up a lot more. So when we're rowing, okay, you want to come down just like you would with the bar. Okay, we're going to keep that rowing handle close and come down, and then I'm going to push hard with my legs. Okay, the other thing we're paying attention to is this chain. Okay, I'm going to pull
Damper setting?
Oh, damper setting. That's good. Okay. So six is about where I like to keep mine. I like to have that tension. So I know sometimes people will go to a 7 or a 5. I wouldn't recommend going above or below that. And the other thing we were discussing is strokes per minute. So if you guys watched the live, they were keeping their strokes per minute around 32 to 33 for those games athletes. My standard when I'm rowing in a workout is not going below 26 and not going above 32. So I kind of keep it in there. If I'm driving really hard with my legs, that row or the strokes per minute is going to be closer to 26. Okay? It's also going to allow for me to have that little pause right here to breathe. So I'm going to drive hard, pause, breathe. Okay? If I'm like getting that strokes per minute up too high, I'm using more arms. Okay? But it's also going to jack my heart rate up more. So as you're watching it, if you've never paid attention to strokes per minute, if you don't even know what that means, okay, in the little corner of your rower, the bottom left corner, that has S/M. Michelle's showing our high period people right here, okay? So we want to be aware of that. And if you're not sure, and like, just start watching it or in your warm-up or tonight, mess around with the rower and play with that big leg drive versus arms and speed, okay? So those are some really important things. I did have one more thing on this. With our postpartum moms, this is a big one for me because I have some ab separation. If I lean back too far, my abs are going to cone out and it creates a lot of pressure, and sometimes it will kind of pull in my core. So as I extend, I'm going to exhale and I'm going to come to here and pull, but I'm going to kind of stay crunched over this way. The second I open up like this, like my abs are already coning. So I come back and I still pull and I have this long stroke. This rower is very crusty. Okay, I'm like this and it's allowing for that. And the exhale is really helping with that. So pay attention to that if you're like me, have some separation there. Okay, we're going to go to our deadlifts. Okay, with our deadlift, obviously hold that bar in close all the way up and down. See how it's almost touching? The biggest thing I notice when I am coaching is that people will get lazy on the way down. And that's like more often than not what I recognize. And so that looks like instead of sliding the bar down my leg and sending my hips back, it looks like this. Okay? It's coming away from me and then coming down off the ground. See how far that is for my shins? And that's, I'm being exaggerating. But the other thing I'll notice is what I talked about at the beginning with bouncing the bar. We'll slide down good, and then instead of pushing the hips back to get the knees out of the way, we go forward, creating a lot of pressure here in our lower back, okay? So slide down the leg, and keep it close at the shins. Another thing for anybody, but also specifically my postpartum moms, with your pelvic floor on these, you want to be exhaling and lifting as you stand up, okay? So if I'm here and I push down, okay, that's going to create pressure down on my pelvic floor, can create peeing, and we don't want that. So exhaling, our breathing pattern is always going to help our pelvic floor. So we want to exhale and think of lifting as we stand up. I also like the cue, if I had a string attached to the top of my head, when I go to stand up on my deadlift, that string is going to pull me straight up. That's going to help me cue that up with my lower abs and my pelvic floor. Okay? Any other additions?
Those are great.
Making sure that finished position, the shoulder is in line with the hips instead of that closed standing position.
So we kind of talked about that at the beginning, but just making sure that you finish. One thing that people tend to do with this, we over-exaggerate and we go like this. That's obviously more than most people do, okay? But we don't need to add extra pressure to our back. It's also why I like that cue of the string on the top of the head, because the string is going to pull me all the way up. I'm going to squeeze my butt, but that doesn't mean I have to overarch. And this is a lot of deadlifts. It's a lot of rowing. And so any little thing that we can do to alleviate the lower back pain is going to be positive. So don't lean back. Just stand up, okay? Lock the lats in. That's going to help show that your shoulders are back. if you're getting this rounded deadlift position, okay, my glutes are engaged, my legs are straight, but I haven't finished that rep here. Okay, so it's not a trap raise, which is what I like to do. I have overactive traps. It's more just finishing that rep, okay?
Shoulders back.
Shoulders back. All right, last thing, I didn't bring a jump rope over because I was not about to jump on this, okay? So biggest thing with double unders, it's really tricky, is staying relaxed, okay? We want to stay as relaxed here as we can. We want to keep our arms straight. Okay, what tends to happen as we get tired is this or this, okay? And that's when we start tripping, because as my shoulders change or as my elbows change, that's changing the length of my rope, okay? I just shortened my rope 2 inches by doing this. Same thing here, okay? Same thing if I'm clear out here. And sometimes you're compensating on your double unders by doing that because you don't realize that your rope is too long. Today's not the day to change the length of your rope, probably, okay? But what we want to do is just focus on relaxing. And I was joking about this today with Shona that I relax my face. And if you watch me in slow-mo, my face is like droopy because I'm just like staying so relaxed, trying to get that heart rate down, trying to breathe. Okay, so relax the face is one of my favorite cues. The other one to think about, pretend that your jump rope handles are markers. Okay, we got little dry erase markers in my hands. Somebody's holding a whiteboard on either side of you, and you're just drawing some little circles on that whiteboard. Okay, this is where our motion comes from our double unders, not this. We're not drawing big old circles. We're just drawing these little guys. Okay. Again, we're gonna discuss pelvic floor. Okay, this is a big one. A lot of women pee on double unders. It's a big problem, and we're taxing our core on the row. We're taxing our core on the deadlift, and so it's going to be taxed here. It's like anything else, it's going to be something that's hard to practice in the moment of a high intensity workout, but it's something that you can be aware of. Is, you know, your pelvic floor is a muscle like anything else, and so if I told you to go over to the pull-up bar and hold a chin-up as long as you can, and maybe you can hold that for 2 minutes, and you're going to reach failure, okay? You're not going to be able to hold it for very long after that, or it's going to be totally gone. You might not even be able to do a strict pull-up, okay? Your pelvic floor is the same way. So if you're just squeezing as hard as you can, like, and jumping, okay, that muscle is going to reach failure, and then you're just, there's nothing to hold it in. So you have to practice that breathing pattern and little, you know, squeezes or exhales as you jump, okay? And when I have people do this, it can be hard because it's not like we want to, like, with everything. I've had people like, I feel like I'm going to pass out. But think of it, you know, if you're a swimmer, sometimes swimmers breathe on every stroke. Sometimes swimmers do a couple strokes and breathe. Okay, so it's a similar thing with your double unders and your pelvic floor. Okay, sometimes we can hold it for a couple jumps and then release and rehold, or maybe you're not very good at like that releasing between reps, okay, where we're like releasing and tightening. And so maybe you do 10 double unders and take a quick little break, then do 10 more, take a quick little break, okay? So you need to learn what's best for your body. And it's one of those things, just like anything else, like it's not just automatically going to be like, one day I'm not going to pee my pants when I double under. Like, you have to be intentional about it. So you can start tomorrow by just thinking about that little exhale, little squeeze of the glutes can help, little Kegel if you know how to do that as you're jumping. And just take intentional breaks to give that muscle a break so that it can tighten again. Any other things?
Those are great.
Do you have any
Anyone
tips on
watching? Do you have any questions?
On thickness of rope.
I have to turn my head like this.
use the same rope and use
I know.
don't switch?
Yeah, I wouldn't switch your rope. I mean, like I said, this is not the day to make any specific like big changes. Like I said, probably don't change your rope length very much. You know, if you're used to using a thick rope, and you probably don't want to go to a thin rope because you're not going to be able to feel it, okay? And you guys know your own, like I didn't go over how to break things up or how to do that because everyone kind of knows their own limits. Some people are going to be able to do the deadlifts unbroken, and some people are going to need to do singles or break them up. And you guys need to understand yourself as an athlete and be smart about breaking things up soon, okay? Because 20 minutes is a long time and we don't want to get to where we're moving that bar really slow. So if it starts to get sticky on those deadlifts, just let it go. Take a couple breaths, pick it back up. Okay, there's a lot of grip. We're holding onto the rower. We're holding onto the jump rope. Okay, so just be aware of that. Same thing with your double unders. Like, you're a champ at double unders, do the 50s unbroken. If you know that you trip a lot, then maybe start with 25 and 25. Like 25 and just a quick shakeout. Okay, but you need to understand your own limits. And if you're not sure, like send us a message, send your coach a message, ask us. We will definitely help you. So it's important, if you guys are on the Hyperion Live, talk to one of our Hyperion coaches, talk to us during class. Okay, if you're here, you can message me, message Shauna, message Competitive Female Training. We'll also be sending out tips in our various platforms. Okay, so if you're in the Fitter app, check there. If you're in the Women of CrossFit page, check there. For my athletes, check Train Heroic. You know, I'm going to be posting something. So we're putting out a lot of information for you guys in order to have that, and we're putting it out because we genuinely want to help you and we want you to feel confident. So please message us and ask questions. Okay? All right.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
The barber says hi.
Hi, Andrea. Okay, well, I think that we'll end it there. So we'll talk to you guys soon. Good luck. Can't wait to hear about it. Bye.
Bye.
I don't know how to end it now. Just kidding. I don't know how to say bye.